is a diorama that was done by John Babcock. It's been shown before, but here we have a herd of Columbian mammoths crossing the Kansas River near Bonner Springs near the end of the Ice Age. These are southern mammoths, so you notice we don't have long hair on them in here. But one of the little fellows in here is caught in the current. The mother tries to save it, but in vain, and it probably will become a skeleton on one of the sandbars that some lucky fossil collector will find. But notice we have in the case over here, I mentioned the lower jaw of a mammoth that probably was about 10 years old when it died. It could have been that little fellow there. That's what I tell the kids anyway. But also notice there's your giant ground sloth pulling down a limb and enjoying some of those tasty leaves. Here's your giant beaver. And then sitting on the hill over in here is 3 Paleo Indians. And they would probably like to come down and get breakfast, but of course they're afraid of this giant sharp-faced bear that's standing there. So that's a scene that may have taken place here 10, 15,000 years ago. And of course we've pretty well reconstructed some of the geology there. And so over here is a diorama that's never been shown anywhere before. This again was done by John Babcock. This is a scene about 70 miles south of Kansas City here at the Bonnie Springs, they call it. It's in Benton County. But what they found there was that it was a site where they found something like in 2 collecting sites, they found as many as 41 skeletal remains of mastodon in here. This is a scene here. It shows a sort of a hilly region. This would be at the lower Pomme de Terre River. It was excavated back in the late 1960s and 1970s, and it was took several years. But the major fossil they found there, along with some cat fossils and various types of peccaries and that, were these mastodons. But they came there probably to drink around springs, the same kind of a scene that you had here at the Country Club Plaza in Kansas City area in here. And so this is at Bonnie Springs, but then there's another spring nearby there, Trollingen Spring. It's in Hickory County, just south of this particular scene here. But those 2 sites together produced the skeletal remains of 41 mastodon. Some of them were 13 to 16,000 years ago dated. Trollingen Spring was about 30,000 years ago in here. But notice here we have a mastodon that is just knocked down a tree, and it's about to break it up. What they would do is they would knock down the little tree, and then they would put their feet on it, and then with one of their tusks they would reach down and slip it underneath the tree limb, and then they would pull up, and that would break it into small pieces in here. But what we find is that they were right tusks. The right tusk can be worn down to a knob, while the left tusk is long and still narrow in here. So that's a scene that took place here anywhere from 13 to 16,000 years ago, and even longer than that. But those sites are no longer open. They're covered by the waters of the Blue Springs Reservoir.